the cloud, and we are now recording. So the presentation will now be recorded, the recording and slides will be emailed later today. So be on your lookout. Be on the lookout. Additionally, I think Rachel has a shortcut to get the slides, and she'll be sharing that here shortly. Please use the chat just to talk amongst yourselves. But really, if you have a question for Rachel, you want to use that Q&A feature, and that's on the bottom of your screen, right? So make sure that you clicked into the Q&A. That is for questions. Chat is just a great opportunity to share your ideas or your experiences, and all of the participants in today's webinar will be able to see that. And if you'd like to follow along, you can follow us on Twitter at hashtag Bloomerang or at Bloomerang Tech. All right. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Bloomerang, or this is your first time, or you'd like to learn a little bit more about Bloomerang, we'd love to chat with you. You can reach out to our team at the URL at the bottom here, which is bloomerang.co/demo. One of our team members would be happy to find some time to chat with you. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce the one and only Rachel Meir, coming live to you from her home office in Austin, Texas. Rachel is no stranger to fundraising. She actually started her own fundraiser, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about that. Not fundraisers, her own organization, her own nonprofit, and has been a good friend of Bloomerang. She has a number of accolades, including being honored by Oprah. So I think that's very, very cool. And Rachel, it is my pleasure to sort of hand this over to you. I'm going to stop sharing and let you pull up your deck. Welcome.
I am so excited to be with everybody today. This is just one of my all-time favorite topics. I'm going to go ahead and click share my screen here, make sure that you guys can see everything. Awesome. Yay. Give me a thumbs up, Josh. You can see okay. Okay, perfect. Awesome. I absolutely love this topic, and was like jumping for joy over talking about email. It's one of my favorite topics. And if you are a subscriber, if you're on my email list, you know that I really love to write email, and I'm here to help you write better email that your audience wants to click on, that they want to open, that they're going to respond to and donate to. Josh gave me an awesome intro, and I've spent my whole career in fundraising. I love fundraising so much, and there's so many topics I love in fundraising, like stewardship, but email is way up there. So I'm going to have a beaming smile that doesn't stop throughout this whole presentation, because it's so exciting for me to talk about email. And when I'm not doing workshops or helping people with rocking their fundraising, I'm a mom of teenage twins, which I think is harder than having twin toddlers. But I don't know about the rest of you. Maybe you love having teenagers. I find it hard. We're going to talk about how to write click-worthy emails, how to avoid the spam filter. I have some awesome tools for you that are completely free, that are going to allow you to check if you're landing in the spam filter, get awesome ideas for great subject lines, and test just how good your subject line is going to perform. I'm going to talk about I'm going to bust a lot of email myths. And in doing that, my goal is that your confidence today is going to go through the roof, my fundraising friends. And, someone shared this, actually, Courtney Gaines from Next Chapter shared this in a presentation she gave last week at AFP Icon. We focus a lot and we think that everyone reads our email, but instead of thinking about, that, which is maybe like 20 to 30% of people read your email, I want you to think about the 70% of people that didn't read your email. Because today is all about getting them to read your email. And I want you to think in terms of the 70%, because that's most people. And I want you to shed your inhibitions about over emailing. Because if you're too much for some people, they're not your people, and that's okay. Again, I'm going to give you lots of time-saving email tools. I'm going to show you some examples of some strategies to grow a list, some strategies to boost your delivery, and any questions that you have, friends, please feel free to type them into the Q&A. Tamala said, I love cultivation and stewardship the most. I do too. I really love cultivation and stewardship. I could love on donors all day. It's so much fun to love on donors and help them feel appreciated. But today, for the next hour, we're going to focus on helping you raise more money with your emails. I do training every month. So if you are interested in, if you're watching this and you're like, I'd like a little fundraising help and I don't have a big budget, check out League of Extraordinary Fundraisers. We're doing a workshop next week on donor surveys, and that's what we're doing in June and July. We do a workshop every single month. And this is a guide that I made just for you, my fundraising friends, just for today. This has all of the tips. Has all of the tools that I'm going to be sharing with you, because I only had time in my slides to share like 2 of them, but this has all of them. And it also has like a Q&A, a myth busting, and a lot of other great resources for email. But we would like to find out a little bit more about you, my fundraising friends. Before I dig into writing click-worthy emails, we're going to do a little poll and see. Ideally, when we're talking about how big your file is, what Josh and I are really asking you is, how many usable active emails do you have? Okay, because like you might have 20,000 emails, but smart systems like Bloomberg tell you right away how many active email addresses you have. And we're not talking about vanity metrics here, because Josh and I are over that. We're talking about how many like usable email addresses, not like that person you ran into at the mall 10 years ago, but real people on your list. So we were going to invite you to take our poll. How big is your email file? This is active email addresses. And because we're nosy. Well, I'm nosy. Let me Josh do this poll.
All right, so the poll's running here. I think we got most people in here. I think I can share it, but before I do that, I want to just reach the stats here, which is the up to 1,000 is about 34% of our audience today. And that's really close to the 1,000 to 5,000 respondents. And that was about 39%. And then about 10% of our participants today are in that 5,000 to 10,000 bucket. And then the remaining 17% are in that over 17%. So the majority of our callers today, of the people joining us on the webinar, are in that up to 0 to 5,000. And so let's see. I think I can. I can share the results. So there we go. Hopefully, you all can see that.
Very sweet.
Yeah,
I love it.
There we go. All right, so I will stop this. I'm going to let Rachel dive right in.
Okay.
Let's
yeah. We have so much great stuff to cover today, my friends. And again, I want to echo what my friend Josh said. Any questions, don't be shy. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Please feel free to post your questions into the Q&A. And I've got a handy dandy guide for you and today's slides. So I popped those in the chat where you can download them. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dig right into how to write click-worthy emails. And I'm giving you a pep talk to send them, because we have this internal drama over hitting the send button. One thing, I'm going to just say the one thing I like about Mailchimp is that Mailchimp has that hilarious gorilla arm, like about to hit the send button. And that's how we all really feel. Now, there's a lot of things I don't like about Mailchimp, especially that people have multiple lists. And if you have the same person on multiple lists, you're paying multiple times for that same person. That's a real annoyance I have with that system. But back to email, the carrot, the thing that is going to get that donor to open that email is a subject line. It doesn't matter how great your email is. If it's a boring subject line, if it's a ho-hum subject line, if it's a subject line that triggers a spam filter, and people don't open it, it doesn't matter. You wasted a lot of time creating really great content. You need a good subject line. You also should think about sending one message multiple times with different subject lines, because the fact of email is it takes more than one message to get through. Raise your hand if you have thousands of unread messages in your inbox. I know I do. I don't even practice zero inbox. And I don't have time to practice zero inbox. I mean, I just don't, and that's cool. So you've got one goal, and this is why the subject line is so incredibly important. Your goal is to get it opened. You need to ask yourself, would someone open this? Your subject line needs to relate to your topic. You can't write, I need an attorney immediately with 5 exclamation marks if you're really going to send an email that's inviting people to a gala. I mean, I might crack up if I see that email about needing an attorney, but if it doesn't relate to your subject, it's not cool. That's, you can't do that. But you've got lots of different options with your email. And I'm going to talk to you now about the harsh reality of an email inbox that looks a lot like this. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can stand out in that inbox. So what subject line works best? What subject lines work best? Personalization works really, really good. If you download the email guide that I made for you, and I'll pop this into the chat, but if you download it, you're going to get an email from yours truly. And in my email, the first thing it says is, I'm so excited that you are ready to become the email boss you've always wanted to be, Becky or Emily, because I personalized it. Personalization really works. I'm going to show you some stats from Next After in a second on how much it works in terms of boosting your open rates. You can use personalization as subject line. You can use personalization in your greeting to your donor or to your prospect. I have a lot of content that I'm going to be talking today, and I had to take out the content on segmentation because there just isn't enough time, but you need to segment your emails. If I'm a major donor, I should not be getting an email from Sweaters for Penguins that's addressed to dear friend of Sweaters for Penguins. That is going to make Rachel angry, and Rachel isn't going to want to give Sweaters for Penguins because Rachel's going to feel like I am a major donor to Sweaters for Penguins, and they don't even care enough to use my first name in an email when they clearly know it and they have my name. I'm going to think that they're too lazy to do this. If you have their first name, use their first name. And you can think creatively about what to use as a substitute that still sounds good. Okay. It doesn't have to be friend. You can use flattery. You can engage them in a fight. This can't keep happening to dogs. This can't keep happening to kids in Idaho. You can use urgency. You can pique their curiosity. A single word can stand out. Emojis can stand out, but you need to be sure that your emojis are not a substitution for a word. If you're going to use like the email, I used the email emoji in one of my promotional emails that I sent a couple days ago for this webinar, and I had a emoji of an email being sent. And I also use the word email. If you're going to need to also use, if it's a noun, you're going to need to use that noun. Scarcity is a driver as well. Yes, I love what Michael said. People love thinking they're part of your inner circle, and personalization is an awesome way to accomplish that. I keep a best of Google Doc of my favorite subject lines, and I add to it all the time. And I get inspired by the emails that I get in my own inbox, emails from for-profit brands, emails from, the most unlikely places. we're talking lots of different, like shopping sites, keep a best of subject lines, Google Doc. You can have, you can add to it your highest performing subject lines. Don't be afraid to reuse your highest performing emails or your highest performing subject lines. But you definitely don't want to make it all about you. And I gotta brag on Bloomberg here, and I'm going to invite Josh to pop. Bloomberg has this awesome comms tool. I think it's bloomberg.co/comms audit. I'm going to invite.
Pop it in right now.
Oh yeah, he's going to pop it in the chat.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
It is such an awesome way to check your communication and make sure that you are being donor centered in your communication. Because, if your email is all about you, if it's like, come see what we're doing at Boys and Girls Club, Greater Austin, yawn, like you've got to pique my curiosity. You saw that slide of the day traders on the trading floor. There's a lot going on in my inbox, and you've got to stand out and give me a reason. So follow other organizations, subscribe to their list, look at the emails that you open in your inbox, and keep a Google list. I'm going to show you some really great tools that you can use to come up with subject line ideas, and also to generate subject line ideas, and to test and see if you land in the spam filter or not. But pay attention to the preview text. One of my favorite tools that is sendcheckit.com. I'm going to put, and it's one of the tools that I'm going to be talking about today. I have a screenshot of it. I'm going to go ahead and pop it into the chat. And you guys bookmark that comms audit tool from Bloomberg, because it's awesome, and bookmark that send check it. That's awesome too. I used to use subjectline.com, but now I use send check it because it gives me so many different things to think about with my email and how I could possibly improve it. So your inbox is subject line inspiration. Keep a spreadsheet of your favorite ones. I mean, these kind of piqued my curiosity. New hand soaps. You know what that means? No, I really don't know what that means actually, but I mean, that's kind of funny. I love this one from Forever 21. We're total mind readers. We know. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's hilarious. And I love the kind of colloquial, I'm going to say slang, but just the approachable tone that Felt, which is a great app that allows you to send personalized handwritten cards using your iPhone or your iPad or your Android. Brighten your BFF's day. Do it. Say thank you like a pro. That's fun. Wayfarers, yes, new toilet seats have arrived. I mean, I'm not shopping for a new toilet, but that's going to stand out. So these were all just things that, this is a great example. Brett Kavanaugh's going to hate this. That's going to get me in a fight. That's going to be like, oh yeah, like that's going to stir some like emotions that I have around like, yeah, what can I do to make him mad? Like, I want to make him mad. I want to really like do that. So your inbox is great subject line inspiration. And you should write like you talk. Your fundraising appeals and your emails need to sound like a conversation with a human being. Your thank you letter should sound like a conversation with a human being. It shouldn't sound like a robot wrote your email. It shouldn't sound really formal. You want to sound like an actual human being. It needs to sound like a conversation, short sentences. And in email, you're going to use like 1 to 2 sentence long sentences. So be warned, you're not going to, it's not a letter. It's going to look different than your direct mail appeal. It's not the same copy. Copy for the web is different than copy for direct mail. You want to be warm. You want to be relatable. Send it from a human being. Don't send it from do not reply at sweatersforpenguins.org. Send it from, Josh at bloomerang.co or Rachel at Sweaters for Penguins. Write in the first person unless you're writing from an inanimate object, which you can totally do. If you're writing it from your CEO or someone else, use like a warm and caring send off, maybe their photo, maybe a handwritten signature. I love Wisestamp, and Wisestamp is totally free. And I use Wisestamp in my email. So if you ever get an email from me, I'm using Wisestamp and I love it. And you can have your headshot in there, and it's a really great way for everyone to recognize you, because you want them to recognize you. But do not have your emails come from do not reply. God forbid someone actually reply, they're going to think that you got their email and they won't. So please don't do that. Please test. Always test. You may have some stuff set on autopilot, my friends, that you don't realize sounds bad. There's an organization that I love and adore. I'm a monthly donor, and they gave me a call to blue just to say thanks for being a monthly donor. And they're like, hey, do you have any feedback for us? And I was like, oh my goodness, your subject line says welcome to this giving club. And I'm getting this email every single month because I've been a donor now for over a year. So and they're like, oh my goodness, we need to change that. And I was like, yeah, let me forward it to you. So test it. I mean, I test stuff constantly, just making, I even had Josh test something for me before we went live for this email. Test, and then test some more. This is a before and after email appeal makeover. And it, my fundraising friends, is in your guide. You've got to have a great subject line that wants people to open it. You can't have a great wall of text in an email. It needs to be short sentences, and you can break up the copy with images, especially in your closing. And always, my fundraising friends, always use the PS. That is the most valuable real estate in your email appeal next to the subject line and in your direct mail appeal. Always, always, always use the PS. Our eyes are naturally drawn to it, and it's going to be read. So don't waste that real estate. Gotta brag on the Bloomberg blog here. Someone I really admire, Claire Axelrod. This is on the Bloomberg blog. If you're not following it, you should. And so just, this is kind of like the anatomy of an email appeal. See how we've got this gorgeous headshot of the CEO. We've got some urgency. We've got a really clear problem. We've got give the gift of a second chance. This is clear what action the donor should take. This visual, in both of these visuals, these people are looking directly at the camera. That's what you want. Make it one person or one animal looking directly at the camera. That's really, really important. Subject line, one justice, we all make mistakes. Now, I might tweak that subject line a little bit, like pique some curiosity, something like Jim will never make that mistake again. Here's one mistake we never want to see made again. Something like that that might pique your curiosity. And let me just say too, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I mispronounced and I misspelled Claire's last name. I'm very, very sorry. Please, very sorry, Claire. If you're listening to this, forgive me. If you listen to this later, I'm really, really sorry. I only had a teeny drop of coffee and I should know better. Axelrad, I'm sorry, I apologize. So I want to say, if you need some inspiration with your subject lines or piquing people's curiosity, check out, if you're not already following Humans of New York on Facebook, start following Humans of New York on Facebook, because it is like every day, every story, there's always a hook. I hoped he was too young to be able to remember what happened. Whoa, what the heck happened? I want to read that. Every day there's a really great hook and you could get inspired. Some of them may be too long for your email subject line, but they could be a great opener to your story in your email. So anyone want to guess into the chat, what is the #1 thing that you can do to boost deliverability? What is the #1 thing you can do to boost your deliverability? Type it into the chat, my fundraising friends. The #1 thing that you can do to boost your deliverability. Let's see, Dale said have their email. Okay, yeah. That you got it. Anne Marie said segment. Absolutely. Come from an individual, clean and segment. Awesome. Those are all really great. The #1 thing you can do to boost your deliverability is to have a great email reputation. And you're probably wondering, how do I get a great reputation, Rachel? I'm going to show you. Get people to open as many of your emails as possible. The more people that open your emails, the better your reputation is going to be. How are you going to get people to read your emails? Produce great content with great subject lines. That's how you're going to do it. So this is an example of a personal salutation at the beginning of an email. This is a control, no, same words, exact same words, but there's a personalization. 270% increase in clicks on the email that it starts with hi first name. This is using personalization in this subject line. This is another example from next after, 137% increase in opens using personalization in the subject line. So my puppy's gonna say hi. He's really 4. This is Max. He loves webinars and he doesn't bark, and he's really passionate about great email, and he is hope you are taking good notes. And also he's gonna go take a nap in the living room now, but he is hoping you're taking good notes. And a few of you asked me to pop back in. That's where you can download the handouts, and this is where you can download my guide on your email survival guide. So this is one that I had really good open rate. I'm in love with first name. So Josh would say in a subject line, I'm in love with Josh. And you'd be like, wait, what? what's going on here? That's going to get your attention, but you have to think in this, what happens if you don't have Josh's first name? Like, what is it going to say? Like, it can't say, I'm in love with friend. It needs to say, I'm in love with you, friend. So you need to think and be really impeccable with your subject lines. So that's just a few tips. Write like you talk. Yay. A Bloomberg said, I'm in love with email. I'm in love with email too. It's so much fun. And it's like a game to me. Like, sometimes I just think of great subject lines, like randomly. I'm like walking my dog and I'm like, oh my God, that would be such a great subject line. Sometimes I get inspired inside Target. Jennifer loves Max. He's a sweetie. Personalize the subject line with their first name if you can. You don't overdo it. Like, do a personalization in the subject line, maybe a personalization in the body of the email, or maybe not. But don't have every email be a personalization in the subject line. Maybe it's personalized in your body of your email, but not in the subject line. You're going to want to change these things out. Needs to be from a human being, not from do not reply. Keep it skimmable. Your paragraphs in an email need to be 1 to 2 sentences. What I would love for you to read every day is, thank you, Dale, Humans of New York on Facebook. Follow them on Facebook and you'll get inspired with really great ideas for headlines. You need a clear call to action and you need a clear ask. And you need to be ready with your thanks. You need to have a thank you landing page. If someone is signing up for your list, if someone is making a donation, if they made a donation, you need to have your autoresponder ready. You need to have those tested. I'm going to invite you guys, type into the chat which call to action you think would work best. Please, number 1 is please make your year-end gift to save the penguins today. Number 2 is please stand with penguins today. And number 3 is stand up for your values. Okay, Francie said 1. I got a lot of 3s and I got some 2s. Jean is 1. Gail is 1. You guys are fast and I love that. Nancy is a 1. Bailey is a 1. Mikhail, Jenny are 1. Tony is a 1. I'm bragging on all my 1s here because the answer is 1. 1 works the best. 1 is the clearest. I'm telling you exactly what to do. Make a gift to save the penguins today. Standing with penguins is very vague. And what does that mean? What does it mean to stand with a penguin? Like, what in standing up for my values, that's even vaguer. I have a lot of different values. I am going to, well, you can test it. This is not the subject line. Deb said, isn't this too long? This is not the subject line. This is a button inside your email, but you need to tell people, like, click here to save a penguin. You need to tell people what to do, not click here, you donate to share your values. It's donate to save a dog now. It's clear, it's direct. Okay, I'm going to answer some questions that I often get about emails. Anyone ever wondered this? Like, oh my God, I'm in the promotions tab. Get me out of here. I'm stuck in here. John says, yes, I've been there. How do I get out of this? Again, how much email is too much email? Type me into the chat. If you stress and feel like you are bothering your donors, you're bothering your list with sending them too much email. Annie says that way. She feels that way. Rachel feels that way. Tony feels that way. I love the way you spell your name, Rachel. The right way. Thank you. Lisa said, yep. Okay. I want to say kudos to Marlene, who was not stressed about sending too much email. So your magic words for email deliverability are good reputation. A good reputation, which means people are opening your content and they're reading your content because it's a good subject line and it's good content. That is the thing that is going to boost your deliverability. It's going to get you out of the spam filter. And I'm going to also talk a little bit about how much email is too much email. But if you want better email deliverability, you got to right click worthy emails and you got to send more of them. And I guarantee you that type into the chat on average how many emails you send to your list in a month, like on average, and you know, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 5, but just type into the chat. Okay, everyone who said 1, everyone who said 2, everyone who said 3, oh my God. Oh my God. Lauren said 1 per quarter. Lauren, you're killing me. You're killing me, Lauren. I gotta drink some coffee.
We can fix it though. I feel like we can help, right? Rachel, we're on the case.
We're gonna fix this,
We're
Lauren.
gonna fix it. It's all
Lauren,
right.
it's okay.
It's all right, Lauren. We got you. We got you.
We
We're gonna
got
lift
your
you
back,
up.
Lauren. We're going to resuscitate your file, Lauren, right here, right now. We're giving it CPR. You're going to need to send a lot more than 1 a quarter. 1 a quarter is going to, honey, it's going to put you out of like people reading. So I'm here. I want everyone like silently repeat after me. I may have sent too few unclickable emails in the past. Today, I'm choosing to write better, click-worthy emails and send more of them. That's what I want your mantra to be. You can write it down. Yay, Dawn is sending 8. Michaela's sending 1 a day at least. Okay, that's a lot. Jackie's sending 2 a month, but around campaigns, it could be 6 to 8. That's fine. That's totally fine. That's totally normal. So if you want better email deliverability, you need to write good content with good subject lines and send more of it. So I'm going to walk you through some myths and truths. It's kind of like when the Spanx come off, you know, we're just all getting real here. You're in a safe place with your email. Sometimes people think, and maybe you know, someone at her organization is telling her that send less and you'll get more people opening. As you've heard me, if you've been sticking with me for the past 5 minutes, you know, that's not true. Sending less frequently actually hurts your reputation. Providers penalize senders whose mail is opened at a lower rate. So what that means is if you send less email, people are less likely to open your emails. So you want to send more, but it needs to be good. And you're wondering now, okay, needs to be good. Well, and I need to send more. Well, how much is too much? Like, is there some like magic formula here? I mean, there's definitely some magic formulas in terms of like, it needs to be like an alternate, everything needs to offer value. Okay. And the more you offer value, the more you earn the right to make ask of your donors. But everything, whether it's brightening their day or sending them a heartwarming story that's going to make them feel so good about giving to you, those are all things that add value, or giving them something that's helpful to them, like a resource or a guide. That's all helpful. I mean, like for me, I mean, I give people really great resources. I send them emails promoting my League of Extraordinary Fundraisers that I do every month, but I'm alternating, giving them great content, inviting them to free webinars, and then, oh, and if you want this, you can join this, and it's only $49 a month. I mean, if all I did was send you emails inviting you to buy something, you get real sick of it and you tune it off, right? So if you think that you send too much email, this is an organization doing end of year fundraising, and they sent a total of, let's see, so 7 solicitations, and well, actually really 9, because they also did a couple Giving Tuesday solicitations. Plus they did a couple thank yous and a little cultivation piece in the middle there before they moved ahead. If I give to your Giving Tuesday campaign in the morning, you're going to take me off the merry-go-round so I don't get the Giving Tuesday ask at night. Okay. If Josh gives to your Giving Tuesday campaign in the morning, don't ask him again that night. Should you ask Josh for a year-end gift? Heck yes, you should absolutely ask him for a year-end gift, because that's something different and that's a separate campaign. But if he gives to that campaign, you're not going to ask him again, unless you have something like, I've got a match, we've got a last minute match, and it's like the day of, and you've properly thanked him, and you've got, you know, but in general, when someone makes a donation in that one campaign, okay, like let's take Giving Tuesday, for example. If someone makes a donation within Giving Tuesday, they're not going to get another example, another appeal for Giving Tuesday. They should get a thank you. So this is another organization. This is just like a lot more emails. They did 4 emails for Giving Tuesday, then a thank you for those who gave. They did 6 emails around a match. Then they did another campaign before their end of year campaign. So they sent out like basically like 25 emails. Some of these are to different segments. Some of these are specific campaigns. You feel stressed about hitting send and you have anxiety over this because you're sitting there thinking that your donor reads all of your emails, but I'm here to prove it to you, and Josh can prove it to you too. Log in and look at your open rate. If you got a 23% open rate, that means that 87% of your donors didn't read your emails. You're going to need to send another email. Like, don't think about it in terms of like, oh, I just sent that email. Well, no, you guys are all amazing. And Josh and I really love you, but none of you have a 100% open rate. I mean, it's just not possible to have a 100% open rate. I love what Kimberly said. Kimberly said the opt-out is scary for us. Okay, you know what? A good open rate. So this is one statistic that I can give you. Somewhere between like the average nonprofit open rate, and Josh can correct me if I'm wrong, but the average nonprofit open rate is somewhere around 23 to 30%, 30% being really, really good, and 23% being more average. That's the average nonprofit open rate. Am I right, Josh? Or is there a more specific number?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I think
Yeah.
there was a comment in here that the opt-out is scary for us. And as a marketer, right, like it shouldn't be. It just means that your list is getting tighter and cleaner and better, right? Because it's like you have you're only emailing the more engaged people. And that's, you got to kind of look at, now you don't want it to be too high, right? But I think you also just gotta make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. Sorry, I started answering questions. I shouldn't. It's your webinar.
Well, hey, we're both passionate about email, and I love it that someone asked that, because the truth is that we worry about that, and it's like almost like an insult. Like, oh my God, they unsubscribed. Hey, Josh and I are giving you a free pass, my friends. I mean, a free pass right here, Karen. Great. They unsubscribed. You know what? They weren't going to give to you anyway. They weren't going to give. Go, bless, release them. Release them. You know what? They just made your life less expensive. That's one less person you have to pay for. That's one less person you have to worry about. Like, and you know what? Like, I am too much for some people. Okay. I am too much for some people. That's okay. Those are my people. That's totally fine. I'm really passionate about email. I'm really excited about email. People who hate email, they're not going to sign up for this webinar. They're not into it. They're like, no, no, thank you. So it's fine. Like, and you can't sweat the haters. You have a big mission to make the world a better place. And Josh and I want to see you out there doing it. And to further help you not sweat this, I'm going to bring up Joanna and what, I don't know, from Magnolia, the show. Okay, so I love Jay Schwedelson, if I said that right. He struggles to spell his own last name himself, but his daughter's really good at it. He's hilarious. He lives in Florida. You can check him out. He does these free webinars about emails. It's B2B and B2C. It's not for nonprofits, but it's useful information. It's interesting information. And so this is the number of email sends per month versus the average open rate. So the peak here is 17 to 18 emails a month. You may be having a heart attack. 17 to 18 emails a month. How many emails do you think Chip and Joanna Gaines send every month? Type into the chat and just say, how many emails do you think they send every month? Okay, Emily said 30, Becca said 30, Dale said 30. I feel like some people here maybe already downloaded my slides or something. You're right. They send 30 emails a month. That's like practically every day. Jason said 50. That's a lot of emails. That's a lot of emails, but you know what? That is working for them. And that's what's happening. So someone said 100. Tony said 100. They might get unsubscribes if they sent 100, because I know I don't want to hear from them every day. I really don't. But yeah, Deb. So like, let's all just be like, let's like shake it off. Like, worrying about those unsubscribes, feeling like we're sending too much. Hey, Chip and Joanna are out there sending one every single day. We got it. We're going to write rich valuable content and we're going to send more of it and we're going to move on our way. And we're not going to worry about the haters. We are not going to sweat the haters. You have a big, important job to do, and you're going to make some of the people happy some of the time. And some of the people will love you all the time, but not everybody's going to love you all of the time. And that's just a fact. And you know what else? Great email can be polarizing. It like actually can. Sometimes I get people who write me back and say, I really don't like this email. And, and I apologize. I take responsibility. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. But if it's something that I'm like, I don't need to apologize for this. This is a person who doesn't share my values. Hey, it's okay. I mean, I'm a grown-up and I can handle it. And you're a grown-up and you've got a big mission, and your mission is not to offend as few people as possible. We want you to be out there doing your great work and talking about it triumphantly and being donor-centered and getting your donors engaged in it. And yes, you might be thinking, what if I make a mistake? I've never done personalization, Rachel. What if I do personalization and I screw it up? You know what? You're gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes. I once totally screwed up a personalization tag, and I felt so bad about it. I mean, I was like, this is the worst day I've ever had. It wasn't really, because I mean, I've had some really bad days. But I felt like I wanted to go crawl under the covers and just like not get out. And I was super embarrassed. And of course, what makes it worse is that everyone's emailing you, telling you about this mistake, like you didn't know you made a mistake. But mistakes are going to happen and you're going to shake it off. And it's part of learning and it's part of growing. And that's why you're going to test as many times as you can. I mean, like I said before this email, I had Josh test something for me just to make sure, like, it looks good on my end, but how does it look for Josh? So have someone test it, test all your autoresponders, test everything. You can't over test. Some of my emails, I might test it 20 times. And sometimes if it's really big and important, I'll even sleep on it. Don't worry about people unsubscribing. Like, you should always be growing your list, and I'm about to give you some tips to do that, but do not worry about people unsubscribing. Hey, they do not have an effect on your reputation. They do not have an effect on your deliverability. They weren't going to give to you anyway, and they just save you some money, and they made your list cleaner. I mean, we should be thanking them and being like, I love you. You go be free. Go have fun out there. I'm going to tell you some sobering myths here, and I'm going to scoot along because I still have a little bit of content. We might go like 15 minutes over. Josh said that was okay. I'm going to give you some sobering vanity email myths. I don't care if you said in our list, in our little poll, that you had 10,000 emails, but in reality, when you log in to Bloomberg, it says that you really only have like 3,000 active emails. That's fine. But it's not how big your list is. It's how many active subscribers you have. So don't sweat. It's just a vanity metric. I'd rather have 3,000 engaged subscribers than 10,000 unengaged subscribers. You can do amazing things with a small and mighty list. And if people don't want to be on your email list, that's okay. They don't have to be on your email list. If you've invited them, if you've given them the opportunity, if you've given them something of value and they still say no, hey, we're going to be donor centered and we're going to communicate with the donor the way that they want to be communicated with. But you need to know that you have to give them something of value. And if I just meet Josh, like, let's pretend like, okay, Josh and I were just at this trade show. Let's pretend like I am not someone who does guest webinars or writes blog articles for Bloomberg. Let's just pretend like I'm just a person. And maybe I'm really like selling paper supplies and I want Bloomberg to be, to buy from me and not Dunder Mifflin. Like, if I'm just walk up to Josh and I'm like, give me your card, I have really great deals on paper supplies. I mean, he may be like, no, thank you. I don't want to be getting emails from you. So, but if I walked up to Josh and said something like, I have something that is going to blow your mind, and it's like nothing you've ever seen before in your entire life, and it's really going to surprise you, but I have to have your email in order to give it to you. I mean, maybe he's going to give me his email to get it. Like if I've lured him in with some item of value, and this is the thing I feel like with email, we skip the item of value. We go right into like, do you want to get regular updates from Sweaters for Penguin every week? I don't know. I mean, if I'm brand new to your list, how do I know if this content is going to be good? So you have to like prove yourself. And I'm going to show you some good examples of some email acquisition. But the value is not in the numbers. The value is in the engagement. And being vain and having like 10,000 people who never talk to you, who never engage with you, is actually going to do more to hurt your deliverability than the strong but mighty person, which something like 27% of you are, who has 3,000 active people on their list. You need to regularly scrub your list, scrub it up. And how are you going to do that? You're going to have an email re-engagement sequence, which is all prompted by automation to notify people when they haven't read their emails, to lure them back to being active with you. All these tools are in your guide. I'm going to post it in the chat for you, but these are some awesome tools. I only shared a couple today, but Zapier is awesome, and Bloomberg connects with Zapier. Litmus is great, and Litmus will show how your email will appear in a ton of different platforms. There's a subject line generator from Activecampaign in your download that I really like. I now prefer using sendcheckit.com over subjectline.com. I still love Jay, but sendcheckit.com, which I just posted in the chat, gives you so many, like such in-depth information to understand your email. And senderscore.org is pretty cool because it will actually tell you like what your deliverability rating is from your IP address. So those are all really cool. You can download them. They're all in there hyperlinked. This is Activecampaign subject line generator. I use Activecampaign, and I test stuff constantly, and I do all my own stunts, and I am like, I'm surviving and thriving with Activecampaign now. Bloomberg has super awesome, amazing tools, amazing epic tools. But you can use some of these free tools to test your subject line, and that one can help you get some ideas. I love SendCheckIt. I pop that in there. It just gives you so many ways to make it better and get your score from like 91 up to like a 99. I don't use Constant Contact. I'm not a fan of Constant Contact. I'm also not a fan of Mailchimp. I feel like a lot of people, you know, if you aren't using an email platform that like Bloomberg that is with your CRM, if you're not using that and you want to use some outside external platform, I do not recommend Constant Contact, and I do not recommend Mailchimp because they don't have the level of flexibility and automation and personalization that is really, that I find really, that I think should be really easy to do. And I do all my own stunts, and I use Activecampaign, and like, again, and this is if you're insisting on using something outside of your platform. You can book like a one-on-one if you're a client of Activecampaign, and for 30 minutes, someone who works there will just sit there and Zoom and help you. And I find that super awesome. Mail Tester will test the spamminess of your emails, which is cool. So what helps your email is making it easy to unsubscribe. Do not make that hard. Make that really easy. Personalization, sending it from a human being, regularly cleaning your list, encouraging people to forward and reply to your emails. All those things help. Sending email repeatedly to unengaged contacts will hurt your reputation. Sending email to people that haven't opted in, constantly changing providers where you're starting from scratch with your reputation all over again, resending to unopens without changing the subject line, not cleaning your list, not segmenting your list, I would love, there's a question in the chat for Josh. I would love to spend a whole session just on segmenting, which I know Josh and everyone at Bloomberg is passionate about too, but I didn't have enough time. But here's a question for you guys. What is the most opened email you will ever send? The most opened email, what do you think it is? The one that everyone's going to open, the number one, type into the chat what you think it is. Marlene said an invitation. Kendra said the first one. Dale said a welcome email. And Francie said a thank you. It is the welcome email. So kudos to Dale and kudos to Kendra. You have the right answer, my fundraising friends. It's something like 88%. Oh, wait, here I have the answer. 50%. 50%. Oh, wait, no, wait, I already gave you the answer. Okay. It's 50%, and that is 86% higher than a newsletter email. So make your welcome email count because it's a really, really good one. Make it count. I'm going to give you some sign-up strategies, and then I'm going to handle all your questions. So if you've asked something I haven't answered yet, don't you worry, my beautiful friends, I'm gonna be answering it. And if you have to leave and you can't stay for me to answer your question, that's where you can download your guide. And this is where you can download the slides. So I'm just gonna give you a couple examples. This is kind of, this is important, but this is a sad topic, but I signed up for this way back when I have twins, and as you know, they're teenagers, but before they were teenagers, they were babies. And I signed up, this is kind of dark, but this is a child safety kit. And this is, it's like fingerprints and a lock of hair. And, God forbid your child go missing. These are things that are needed to, God forbid, but this is something that as a new mom, I was like, yes, I want a safety kit. And this was something they're going to mail to me, right? Because I have to use, put the contents into this little package here. So it's something they're going to mail to me. So this is a great strategy to guard your list. This is also a really great strategy to do a monthly giving campaign. But think about what kind of a download do I have that, what is content that I'm currently giving away that someone would give me their email address to get. Okay, what is an item of value? It can be a digital item of value. Your items of value here, this email guide and these slides, that's content that people are going to give an email address to get. This is from an organization, and this is like they're making this 4 fun weeks to your happier home. All this is emails, but they make it look like I'm going on a canoeing trip, like a family canoeing trip. And they're just going to send me these devotionals, some activities to do with my kids. Like it could be positive affirmations. It could be so many different things. It could be activities to do to avoid like summer brain drain. Oh, I'm going to have to listen to Crime Junkie because I love crime podcasts. Thank you, Sophie. I'm writing that down. Crime Junkie. I haven't been following that one. But this is totally free. They've packaged this up to look like this gorgeous freebie. And all it is an email sequence. You could totally think about what is the content that you could give away for free. This is some email opt-in examples, prevent bird deaths from building collisions, take action. Hungry to help, here's your guide on ways to fight hunger. Meet the people we're empowering to break the cycle of poverty. We've got this great photo of these kids looking straight at the camera. So these are just some email opt-ins that really show the value to the reader of what they have. And you need to think about this from the whole journey. This is, it starts with that welcome message. You've got like a 50% chance of people opening that up and reading that, but that's just the beginning. When do they hear from you next? I should get a thank you from you before I get another solicitation. Like that, if I make a donation, I shouldn't get solicited before I get a thank you. You need to think about the email journey. You need to think critically about your segments. This is a relationship, and email is an extremely affordable way for you, my fundraising friends, to fundraise. So you can check out my website. I am going to dig into some of these awesome questions in the Q&A. I posted into the chat lots of the, the handouts where you can get those. Okay, so Tammy said, I just did a Mother's Day e-blast campaign. 135 people clicked through using our donate button, but only 5 made a gift. Any insight? Tammy, you have an issue with your donate form, your donate page. If you had 135 people click through and only 5 people made a donation, that what tells me is that there is something going wrong with your donate page. You may be asking too many fields. You may not have a clear call to action. You may have a lot of cognitive friction where you've basically just got banners and emails and just tons of like chaos happening on that page. And it doesn't look, maybe it's not branded to your identity. And people are like, where am I now? Am I even on, I don't know, let's pretend like your sweaters for penguins. But that's another topic. That's how to convert more online gifts, which we should do that webinar next, Josh. Michelle said, I heard the greatest lesson is that my foundation to the subject, I never tell someone we need your help. People hear the word need all day. Everyone needs something from you. Rebecca said, how much is too much if we're emailing college students to remind them of things? Can I send 2 reminders or 10? Yeah, if you're emailing college students to remind them of things, good Lord. I mean, I bless you. I mean, just reminding mostly my son, not my daughter so much. She doesn't need to be reminded. She can handle 2 reminders. He needs 10. But I would say always have an opt-out where people are like, don't want to get these for in this scenario, don't want to get any more reminders, click here, or want to get fewer reminders, click here. Sarah said her org had an email come from the name of her email appeal signatory. It wasn't a well-known name, but otherwise branding wise, looked like all of their other emails. We had a few people contact us worried it was spam. Thoughts to have emails come from a person and avoid people thinking it's spam. I mean, I would have to like see the email to tell you what made it look like spam. But I'm guessing that if people thought it looked like spam, it could have been something in your subject line. Maybe you described an offer. Maybe the person who sent it was some kind of an external partner that, from a business, and it therefore made them think that it was spam versus someone from your nonprofit organization. Those would be some things. What did I say you should be reading every day? Humans of New York on Facebook. Join their Facebook, follow them on Facebook, and ask, is it effective to here? And I'll go over here so you guys can see where to get the slides. And I will put the email where to get the guide right here into the chat as well. And ask, is it effective to include your organization's name or abbreviation to begin the subject line so your donors immediately recognize that this is an email they would want to open? I don't think that your acronym for your organization is going to make me open an email at all. That is like not going to do it. Like, it's not going to make me open it. You piquing my curiosity, flattering me, engaging me in something I care about. Those are the things that are going to making me laugh. Those are the things that are going to make me open an email. Friend C asked, is there a line between an effective subject and a cheesy turnoff? It depends, a cheesy turnoff would be writing a subject line that had nothing to do with the content. That would be cheesy and not cool. And that would totally turn me off. Like if you said like, something that had nothing to do. So I hope that is a good line. I mean, an effective subject line, again, it's something that's going to pique people's curiosity. It's going to speak to them. It could use personalization. It could speak to their pain point. It could speak to their aspiration. It could make them feel part of your tribe. It could make them feel proud. It could be like, Josh, you just did a great thing. And he's like, what did I do? What did I do? Rachel, I'm going to click on this. What did I do? I'm going to keep scrolling through these, and feel free anytime, Josh, if there's any ones that you want to add or talk about. Someone who posted anonymously said we have a high open rate, but very low conversion rate. So a lot of people are opening their emails, but not donating. Do we need to change our call to action, our call to action placement, our subject line, all of the above? You know what? There's one other thing that you might need to change, my friend, and that is your donation landing page. Because if you've got a high open rate and a low conversion rate, and to answer that, I would need to know how many people clicked on your donation landing page. You may have the same challenges and the same problems that our friend earlier posted about, where they had like 135 opens and only 5 donations. Donation forms, and this can be a whole nother webinar I'd love to do for Bloomerang. I love talking about how to convert more online gifts. And there's this thing called cognitive friction, which is like, a messy, sloppy, like something that's really hard to read. Think about like, the yellow pages, okay? Hard to read. And then think about Pinterest. Whoa, Pinterest, it's like, so beautiful. It's like a vacation for your eyes. Bloomberg just did a whole new branding. And Josh was showing me his slides and I was like, oh, these are so beautiful. And I was asking him what font he used, and it just feels so clean. And so that is cognitive ease. Readers like cognitive ease. They do not like cognitive friction. If you have like 5 different calls to action, if you have like 12 different colors, if you have 8 different fonts, it just looks like a bunch of like visual scribble, and it's just too much. Dennis asked what percentage tells us we have a good reputation. Actually, in the guide, there's a tool that you can use to look at your reputation. I think it's like sender score. And that will tell you, you have to have like your IP address. Oh, he said percentage of opening. Log into your email provider and click on the campaign you last sent and click on your open rate. And it'll tell you your open rate. It should also maybe show it to you in a bar graph. Your open rate is 30%. Your open rate was 40%. And if you've got great email subject lines, don't be afraid to use them. Great email fundraising campaign, don't be afraid to reuse it. You don't have to recreate the wheel like every single time you do a campaign or send an email. Tessa, oh, this is an interesting question. Tessa said, when you send a cultivation email, do you also include a link to donate? More subtle. If it was a thank you, heck no. A thank you is just a thank you. It is not a VASC, okay, where you're combining a thank you. Yes, Lori, I will put a link in here. This is what I do. If you are like, I want more Rachel training in my life, check out League of Extraordinary Fundraisers. We're doing a workshop next Thursday on how to do a donor survey. And then this summer, we're going to be talking about creating a culture of philanthropy and how to make over your board. So a thank you note.
I'm going to fire up that final poll there because I think that's a great segue into it. But
sorry,
keep going with the Q&A.
Yeah.
We're going to do a quick poll here. If you'd like additional information from Rachel, just respond to this poll. And then if you'd like additional information from Bloomerang, or you had a Bloomerang question that we didn't get to, check here, and one of our team members will follow up. But Rachel, keep going with the Q&A.
Okay,
minutes, so
yeah, we got time, friends. So if you've got questions I haven't answered yet, pop them into the Q&A. I'm about halfway done, but I'm staying late, and Josh told me I could because I'm so passionate about email. Okay, so I told Tessa, if it's a thank you, it's just a thank you. Some consultants will cuss and discuss this with me, but if it's a thank you, I want it to just be a thank you. Now, when you're sending a cultivation email, yes, you could put a subtle, like, click here to give. You could put that in, a cultivation email. But to answer that question for you, I would have to really know, this is Tessa's email calendar. This is her marketing plan. These are all the emails that she's going to send over the next 6 months. And, me answering, like, I might, if you were doing like a series of like 3 awesome cultivation emails over like, 2 weeks, and then you're going to do a campaign, I would say, hey, don't worry about it. Just do it like that and do your campaign. I can't really answer that. There's not a one answer, right? It's like, if you were not going to do a campaign for 2 more months, I would encourage you to do a campaign sooner and maybe include a link to donate. So there isn't like email is a thing. It really all kind of goes into how much email are you sending and what is the value and the content of your email. Cindy said, I spend a significant amount of time trying to update emails based on those which are unopened or bounced back. I contact organizations, checked out LinkedIn. Dang, girl. Not sure if it's the most productive. No, I don't think it is the most productive use of your time. You're a fundraiser. Let's get out there and fundraise. Don't delete them. Do not delete them. If anyone is, well, here's what you're going to do, Cindy. So you have to do all this. You're wasting your time, friend. You need to create a re-engagement sequence. And a re-engagement sequence is when people don't open your emails after so much time. And what time is probably someone's next question. Well, what time, Rachel? Well, my friend, it depends. It depends on how much email you're sending. I mean, I send out anywhere from 4 to 7 emails a month. So mine is set, I think it's like 2 months. If you don't open an email for me in 2 months or 3 months, maybe you start getting my re-engagement sequence. And if you don't open those, you are marked inactive. Don't delete anybody. Mark them inactive. Don't delete them. They might come back. They might start opening stuff. Okay. Don't delete them. Do not delete them. That's crazy. Just mark them inactive. Now, if someone bounces back and it says like they don't work here anymore, then you're going to mark them inactive. Those people, you need to do that. Like when I get someone who's like, I get sent emails that say, Josh has left Bloomerang. He's left the building. He's now like director of lead generation at Starbucks. I'm not going to keep emailing Josh at Bloomerang. I might try to, I don't know if he's at Starbucks anymore. If he's moving on to Starbucks, he may not care about fundraising as much. So I may not even add Josh at starbucks.com, so there you have it, sports fans. There's an answer for that. It's not a productive use of your time. A way more productive use of your time, Cindy Ingram, is to create a re-engagement sequence. I answered Tammy's question, which is a great one. Can you piggyback direct mail with email? Yes, and you should, because a rising tide lifts all boats, and you'll get more donations if you do a multi-channel campaign. Dennis asks, so you take them off your list when they donate to that campaign, then you put them back. You're not taking them off the list. You're using segmentation. Okay, so I told you that I didn't have because I could talk about this topic whole day, but I had to take a segmentation out because it's like just too much content, and I knew we need to stick around an hour here. But don't be deleting people off your list, be marking them inactive. And if someone donates, they get a tag, donated, and that tag, it can be donated to X campaign, and that tag, you're going to put a rule in your automation so that they are prevented from getting sent that same campaign that they just donated to. So you're going to use segmentation and you're going to use tags. And you can think of it as like a refrigerator with items inside of the refrigerator, right? Like I have sodas, and sodas are a segment compared to like my dozen eggs. But within sodas, they have tags. There's a Coke tag, there's a Pepsi tag, I don't have any of those sodas. But anyway, that's kind of a way you can think about the differences between segmenting and tags. Someone says, my email lands in junk mail. I'm on my list and my emails land in my own junk mail. Why is this happening? I didn't opt out. It's probably, my emails sometimes, not all the time, it's going to depend on your subject line. Sometimes mine go into promotions. Sometimes my own emails go into promotions, and sometimes they don't. So it really just depends on the content of your email. I would mark it not as junk, so it doesn't happen. And you can also, the thing is, if you get your readers to interact with you, if you get your readers to respond and reply to an email, you're not going to be going to their junk mail. That's them raising their hand, and Google is smart and is like, oh, Josh really likes this email from Emily Woodworth. So we're going to make sure he keeps getting Emily's emails in his inbox. Emily asked an interesting question. If your open rate is higher, 45 to 50%, like, all right, Emily, way to go. Way to go. Should you just adjust the total volume you're going to send for appeals? I'm not sure what that means, but if your open rate is 45 to 50%, keep it up. And, I would tell people, like pretty much everyone, like when I do workshops on end of year fundraising, my advice to pretty much every human out there listening is send more emails than you're sending. If you're sending 3 emails around Giving Tuesday, consider sending 5. If you're sending 3 emails about end of year, considering sending 6. Like, I mean, if you're sending 20 emails, then I think you're okay. But maybe you want to send a couple more. But most people are sending far too few emails. But here's the thing, they gotta be good. It can't just be like a bunch of, I mean, if they're bad, you got to invest in your content, you know. Someone said, I've heard that if someone forwards my email and that recipient opts out, it unsubscribes the original receiver. True. So many people could be inadvertently after that. No, if someone forwards your email, then the person just reads your email and they're not going to be added to your list unless they join your list. So that's my take on that. Deb said, any ideas about email stats in India? We have Indian donors and they do not seem to open emails. No idea, but you could Google it. You know, email stats by country. 10% seems to be the norm. Maybe Deb, maybe things are being lost in translation here. I have no idea. I have no idea how you're, maybe, I mean, my goodness, there are so many different dialects as well in India. So I have no idea. Dennis said, please describe how to personalize within the email if you're sending thousands. You use a personalization tag. And in my example for my slides, it said, and this is what it looks like in Activecampaigns. It has a percentage sign, first name, percentage sign. That is a tag, and the tag will substitute for that custom field first name based on the tag. So that is how you use personalization. How much should I balance programming emails versus fundraising emails? You know what you didn't add in here? Stewardship emails. Programming emails are kind of like a newsletter, and fundraising emails are an ask, and those are both withdrawals in your donor's love account. So my question for Dennis is, what are you doing to put some deposits in that account? And it needs to be some really great, awesome stewardship. So it should be like, here's my recipe for you is like equal parts stewardship and equal parts fundraising emails. And maybe even twice as much stewardship as fundraising emails. And programming emails, yeah, throw a few in there, but you need, I mean, it sounds like programming emails to me sounds like just news about your organization, and the donor wants to be hearing about all the great things they're accomplishing. You need to make that news about them and how awesome they are.
One other thing that's awesome there is surveys, right? Using email surveys.
Yeah.
Donors always want that opportunity to be able to make sure that their voice is heard and that they have feedback in your programming. So that's another way to layer in stewardship.
Sweet.
Sorry.
Someone said their open rate dropped from 27% to 8%. That breaks Josh and I's hearts. After giving campaign and a 2 months later hasn't recovered or show signs of growth yet. My goodness. I would guess that it was your emails. I would guess that your emails like turn people off. And, you know, like maybe, oh, your open rate. Okay, it's the open rate. Okay. I think it's your emails. I think that your emails, maybe the emails that you've been sending since the giving campaign are just kind of boring, and maybe there's bad subject lines, and maybe it's not giving something of value to the donor. So that would be my guess for why it dropped why it was 27% when you're doing the campaign and it went to 8% afterwards. That would be my guess. Cindy asked if you can copy a Mailchimp distribution list to upload them to another provider. You should be able to download your email list and Mailchimp and yes, upload it to another provider. Absolutely. I'm going to let Josh answer Karen's question.
Ooh, can you read it? Because I'm not.
It says, can you use these tools if you're using Bloomberg email? If so, how? You should totally be able to. Your subject line tester? Heck yes. Everything.
A great one, yeah. And then something like I mentioned, the comms audit tool is actually built into Bloomberg. It's the readability test. So that's another that one is built in there, but some of the other ones are not, and they're great.
Yeah,
supplements.
You can use all of them, and one of them, Bloomberg, is compatible with Zapier. So basically, the world is your oyster. Yeah. I mean, that makes you can do anything. If you haven't had a party with your Bloomberg and Zapier together. It's like chocolate and peanut butter. Actually,
That is a
it's like
hard.
Nutella and peanut butter. It's Nutella and peanut butter. It's just some good stuff. And someone asked, how would you recommend convincing your team to switch from Mailchimp to Bloomberg? I'm sure Bloomberg can help give you some talking points on that one. It's not too much effort to migrate. It's a simple download and a simple upload. It is not too much work, my friend. Bailey asked you, recommend sending a digital, and I'm sure, well, anonymous attendee, type in your email address and type it to the panelists so that someone can help you with that. Do that for us because you're just listed as anonymous and we can't really help you with talking points if you're anonymous. So I'm gonna ask you to type in your name. Bailey said, do you recommend sending a digital version of a mailed appeal? Yes. Best timeline and how you edit or segment. You're sending it to, you're going to segment based on your audience. Are they first-time donors? Are they monthly donors? That's how you're going to segment. And the timeline is really, you want to coordinate it so that they get a lot of people, it depends on the organization. It depends on how many emails you're sending, how many direct mails you're sending, but a lot of people coordinate it where the direct mail drops and the email comes like a couple of days later, and then 3 days later another email, and then 5 days later another email. But you're also going to segment so that if someone gives, they're not sent those subsequent asks. Okay, it's okay if I give to Giving Tuesday and you ask me for end of year, but if I give to Giving Tuesday, don't ask me again 3 hours later to give to Giving Tuesday. That's why segments are so important. And if I'm a major donor, please don't send me an email that says, dear friend of Sweaters for Penguins, because I'm a major donor and it really hurts my feelings. We're past the dear friend. If I've given you thousands and thousands of dollars, we're so past dear friend. And that's why I gave you money, to be past the friend stage. Karen asked, if someone makes a gift via an email, should you definitely respond with a thank you letter via email, or can you send paper? I love sending paper, but read the above. Okay, so yeah, you can, if you have their physical address, you can totally send them a nice letter. You can send them a email. They can send them both. Have everyone get an email autoresponder who gave online, and you can send them something else in the mail. I mean, you do the best that you can do. And I'm a big fan of and I could do a whole nother workshop just on the lucrative art of a great thank you. But I would encourage you to do both. If you can swing it, I would encourage you to do both. But you definitely, if they gave online, they need to get an email thank you autoresponder. And you can personalize it, and you can use video, and you can use photo, and you can make it awesome. And if you have the ability, Karen, sure, send one in the mail too. If you've got their mailing address, it doesn't hurt. Josh, have you ever been thanked too much in your lifetime? Hasn't happened to me.
Nope.
No. Can't, yeah. Melissa said, we send a weekly newsletter highlighting activities at our clubhouses each Friday. How do we pick a catchy subject line for each week for a similar weekly email? Well, I mean, your audience here needs to be people who are going to the clubhouse. And this is a good example of segmentation, because her donors should be getting an email about all the great activities they are making happen at the clubhouse, and they should be getting photos of kids having a blast at the clubhouse. And this is all because of you, Josh. Thanks to your support, Becky's blah, blah, blah. But if you're targeting people who come to your programs at the clubhouse, you need to get them there with really good subject lines that make hint at how much fun they'll have. But the donors need to be getting subject lines like, something like, this was all possible because of you, and we're thankful. So, something like that. Oh, how does Bitly, you want to use a raw link, you want to hyperlink a real link in an email. Bitly will can get triggered as a spam filter. So you want to use like this. I'm putting this link into the chat, and it's a real link. And that right there is like a raw link. You can, if I hyperlink join here to that, then it's not a raw link, it's a link, but use that and not Bitly. We send out 1 to 3 emails a month, but get a 40% open rate. is it better to have more emails with a lower open rate? If you write good emails, my anonymous friend, then good emails with valuable content will give you a higher open rate. We have now, okay, I think this may be the same person. We have a 30% open rate, only 0.7 click through on donation, but no one donates. Okay, this is the issue. So we've got this an anonymous friend, and their issue is that they are, and this is a lot of people, if you said, and I think I answered this, but if you said that you were you had a good open rate and a bad donation rate, a bad conversion rate, and you're using PayPal as a donation platform, that, my friends, is why right there. Because people are like, wait, where am I? I was just at Sweaters for Penguins looking at these beautiful penguins and their cute feathers, and they were snuggling. And now I'm on PayPal. Like it needs, that is cognitive friction. It needs to be, I need to feel, especially with my money, Josh and I need to feel like we're on the same path. Bloomberg just did a beautiful website redesign, and every gorgeous page is consistent, and it makes you feel like you're all part of this beautiful like space. You know where you are. It's not like one page is the old page. Nope, it's all consistent branding. So using something like PayPal, that's the answer. That's why that hurt you, and it may have hurt the other person too. Sophie asked if is it important to include clickable items in informational emails like newsletters. Yes, because your news, here's the thing, if it's an article, people are only going to read 1 or 2 sentences. So an email, you don't send me an email newsletter that's like this long, send me one that's like this long, and it has some good photos and some clicks to some links for the things that I want to read about more. Nancy said, is there any formula that's recommended for sending emails versus social media? It's all up to, those are 2 separate channels, and the number that you send is totally up to what you're sending now and what you're promoting. Is Apple Mail privacy affecting open rates? Yes, it is. And you know who talks about that? A guy I mentioned earlier, Jay Schwedelson, if I said it right. He's from subjectline.com. Look him up on Facebook. He's really, really funny. And I subscribe to his newsletter, and he tells me what shows he's watching. And he's just a funny guy in Florida. And he's really like me, he's really obsessed with email, but he has done several webinars about Apple Mail policy and several pieces of advice to people around how to deal with it. Constant Contact has a resend to non-openers. Would you recommend, even though you don't recommend the program? Here's the problem with this is one of the reasons why I don't like Constant Contact. Resending to non-openers, you need a different subject line in order to do that. It can't be the same subject line. And you might need to change the copy too, because maybe there's a date in there. And the last time I remember someone talking to me about Constant Contact, they were a customer and they were complaining because they weren't allowed to they couldn't change it. They couldn't change the subject line. They said, I can't change the subject line. It's the same exact subject line. And I was like, that could hurt you. That can definitely hurt you. Also, if it says like RE or FW, that can hurt you too. So that's when that's a reason to not use Constant Contact. Dennis said if they unsubscribe, we're almost at the end, friends. Dennis said if they unsubscribe because they say they're no longer interested, it seems like we should delete them, not just inactive, but send them on their merits of money. My friend Dennis, guess what? You are going to save money just by making them inactive. If they're inactive on Bloomberg, if they're inactive on Activecampaigns, you are not being charged money. If you have someone on Mailchimp on 3 different lists, then you're paying for that person 3 times because it treats each list and the number of a list as a cost. But if someone says they're not interested anymore, I mean, if you want to delete them, delete them. I personally would just mark them inactive. And I do that with pretty much everybody because they might come back and I want the record of how engaged were they with me? Did they come to my webinars? Did they send me emails? What happened? Creating a re-engagement sequence is like a whole nother workshop, but you create an automation and it's triggered by an action. And the action is not opening your emails for a period of time. And then they get sent an email. And it's dependent on how frequently you are emailing. You shouldn't set up a re-engagement to unsubscribe everybody or mark them inactive if you don't open an email in a month, if you only send one email a month. It needs to be related to how much email you're sending. Our anonymous friend said, if someone clicks the donate link and doesn't donate and the landing page is simple and clear, could one of the reasons for not donating be that they have to fill in their credit card number, name, and address? We also offer PayPal. Should we offer Apple Pay and Google Pay so they'll have less work to do? I would, you know what?
We need a whole thing on landing pages, Rachel. I feel like this is like the landing one, yeah.
We should do that webinar. I love that webinar. How to convert more online guests. I'm going to tell an anonymous attendee, I'm thinking this is the same person that was thinking about Bloomberg using this platform. I recommend you use an awesome platform like Bloomberg, and you can do all of your awesome emails and you can do all of your awesome donation pages, and it can all be linked because you are like putting together a bunch of different solutions together, and you're spending a lot of time and a lot of energy, and it can all be a lot easier, and it can all be branded appropriately as well. Oh, DoSomething.org. Yay. Yeah, I love DoSomething.org. DoSomething.org. My goodness, you guys are awesome. And I know that you're a very successful organization. You can invest in this. And let me just stress that this is an investment and this is not an expense, because you're going to be able to treat your donors with more love and appreciation and better engage your audience. So it is a investment, not an expense. Gina, I don't think that's true, but no, Bloomberg does not charge you for inactives. You're only charged for actives. So anyone that's charging you for inactives, that's not cool. But I do know that Mailchimp charges you each time that person's on a list. So, and I know this because there's one organization that I love, but they break my email heart, and I'll get like the same email 3 times. Why am I getting the same email 3 times? Because I'm on 3 different lists. And they haven't taken the time to comb through their list. So that's how I know. Yeah. Yay, Anne-Marie said Bloomberg helped us eliminate third-party email, get a better CRM, and automate our thank you letters.
Yay, love to hear that. All right, well, Rachel, this has been, I mean, I've learned a lot, and I thought I knew everything about emails. So this has been fantastic. We really, really thank you for taking the time today. Friends, we hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Next week's webinar is going to be talking about how to prioritize change and looking at how do you respond to change. And we hope that you will be able to join us May 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern, where Diane Leonard is going to be talking about prioritizing responding to change. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Rachel, or you can reach us at Bloomberg at hi@bloomberg.com. And other than that, I think and as a reminder, we'll be sending out a recording and the slides afterwards. So if you want to dive in deeper, you will have the ability to do that. And with that, my fundraising friends, we wish you the best on this Thursday. I think we're now, yep, everyone now is, assuming you're in the US, it's afternoon. So have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you for taking some time this afternoon to spend with us. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.